So that's why I feel like it was fine enough for Basket to hold the grudge for a bit, but to hold it for years on account of something that you were the one who actually fucked up first, I just feel like that's really, really
Can we
bad
establish
behavior.
it now
That's
on this
really bad behavior.
conversation
Yeah.
that Basketmouth still owes AY 30,000 naira? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, first of all, I want to say thank you very much for how much support you showed us on our last post.
Yes.
I don't know, that means you guys, you really like that. I mean, you're all looking forward to that Timeless album. So shout out to all of you, the people commenting and people that subscribe based on that particular video.
And of course, we'll be back to talk about the album when it does show up.
When it drops, yes, we decided. You know, before we were trying to say, are we supposed to criticize the album?
No, exactly.
So, but now we think.
I think now.
I mean, Davido is having 2 concerts. How many seasons? That means actually happy. So we have to move.
Exactly.
So now onto the matter of the day. Should we talk about Portable first?
Yes, I think the big man online is Portable. I don't know, is he big man? The trouble making
don't label him anyhow.
I will label
just
him.
Say Portable. You cannot label him anyhow.
Habib Okikiola.
Hey, Okikiola.
Yes.
Powerful guy.
So, if you have been online over the past 48 hours, you
cannot say you missed.
I've seen.
It went viral.
I've seen the noise making, the chaos, the hula baloo, to quote the great Ruger, as drummed up by the man otherwise known as Portable.
Yeah.
Yes. And apparently he was resisting arrest. A bunch of policemen came to his bar, his office as he calls it, Odogu Bar, which is the name of what he set up, the bar he set up, and to come and arrest him. And well, let's just say the man took it to the streets of the internet.
Yes.
Because he had to go viral.
He went live.
So he went live, and let's just say things started happening from there. And of course, that whole event has brought about a meme, which I'm sure nobody would miss anymore. The one where he says, "I'm a baboon. I live in the zoo, Zazoo." Anyway, yeah. So, I think I saw this morning that the man has even made a bit of a short song, a sort of beat with it. So I'm just like, anyway. So yes, he's cashed in on that whole thing. But more importantly, is that okay? And I mean, some of the things he said, I think they are typical of what happens in Nigeria when certain kinds of people get into money. I think one of the things he said was that he worked for Tinubu.
Yes, that is celebrity.
Exactly, the celebrity. He worked for Tinubu. They own the country now. APC won.
The APC
exactly won. So they own the country. Why would they come and arrest him? That he's a celebrity. Why are they inviting him to the station without money? That they want
no. He said when
people
want to see him,
exactly.
sister, they used to pay him. Then why they're now inviting him
without money? If you want to invite him, you should put money inside. You get so just ridiculous statements. And let's not. I mean, I don't know if you've seen that video, but sometime in the past, years ago, Habib Okikiola Portable was actually not arrested. What's the thing is? I mean, they kind of like stripped him naked at some point because they said he stole a phone or he stole keke or something. This is years ago. So I'm just wondering how you go from that into this. So clearly, this man is kind of familiar with some kind of
irregularities,
some kind of justice of some sort. Either the one they do on the streets, and now he's already the one where you go and do at the police station. So I think it's unfortunate. I won't lie, so it's entertaining, as anybody can see. It has been trending on Twitter for quite a while now. But I think on some level it's just unfortunate, really, the way a Nigerian. I think he's the brash example of what a famous or rich person feels like in relation to the law. You know, because anyway, that's kind of what I think.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, I agree with you, because the police. So I mean, but then again, there are some areas that I thought we should look at. Probably consider in analyzing this story. The guy was asking for ID cards and wanted them to show, because now, I mean, after that particular incident, there was a statement that was released where the police was saying that it was actually that they were setting out various petitions that had been submitted against Portable, and that required him to report to the station.
Yes,
and they had tried various ways,
through his father,
even through his father,
tried
to invite him to the station. Yes,
since last year December.
Yes, to come to the station, and the guy had ignored all of those, and that they went as far as getting a court
injunction.
Is that injunction
or
a warrant?
Yeah. To bring
him in, and which is why I really feel like in the video that was shown, or in that whole chaos that was shown, if they had come with this is a letter, a warrant to arrest or to have you, or what's the word, subpoena you. I mean, it's not
no,
to court, but actually to
just
arrest you, warrant to arrest
yes.
to invite you to the station. This is an official. And when they give you a warrant, like, because ordinary police can invite you ordinarily, verbally, in any way they can invite you, even whether by letter or sending somebody, or coming themselves to say you are invited to come to the station. But I still feel like in certain situations or in certain quarters, maybe a letter has been delivered, say, and but if they just send the letter, the guy can say he's not sending letter. So maybe, and like they said, they had used his father to invite him to come to the station. And I can call the police, can say, okay, sir, did you invite him? Say, yes, most often I've told him, but he did not come. And then they went to court and got that letter. And once they get that letter from the court, I feel like if you go live on 1 million platforms, they're going to drag you to that station, especially for the depending on the case that the petition, based on the petition that has been raised against you. So I also feel like the policemen were, I don't know if they were unsure, I don't know if they were, uncertain about what they were there for. But I just feel like just because the boy went live does not mean that you now would have left him or would have just, backed off. If you have an injunction, a warrant from the courts, you be coming there with confidence. And then the guy was now at the point he was asking, so he sort of intimidated them, and then show me your ID card, and then the noise that he was making did not even give room for any conversation. We could not even hear or
exactly. We don't even know whether they brought.
I'm a celebrity.
Exactly.
Like in some celebrity. Do you know what a lot of people have faced? Was Fela not a celebrity?
That's what I'm saying. Look, it looks to me like
it's actually very is wishy-washy. And I feel like I said, if the police were sure what they were there for, I don't see how we can't even talk right now. We should be seeing him sitting down at the station, the same police people in return recording him as he's dealing with himself.
Yeah, but I think what has happened here is that they came in thinking that they would just he's civil. He's a civil human being. They'll get him to follow them, and then they will have the question in the station. They did not count for what they got. Like I said, one of the statements that the police released was they said that when they actually got him, the first thing he did was to strip naked.
Yes. So I don't know if it was in one of the occasions or if it was in this particular occasion.
I think that whole thing, I mean, we saw just clips of it now. I think that thing probably took hours. You understand? So I think maybe the initial time when they actually mentioned that's what he did, and maybe they're taken aback by that. And of course, by virtue of that, his people, the whole club people, now started. So family. The chaos, exactly. So the whole chaos now kind of things escalated, and I don't think the police were ready for that level of escalation, and so they just let it be. But the fact of the matter is that look, they did not arrest him that day. They will arrest him eventually. Yes. It's not possible that you will escape the police. It's just not what happens.
I also feel
if you want to keep going from, if you want to be moving around, feel free to move around. But if he's still going to be that is Odogu Bar and his house, Apibo Kikeola is going to eventually go to that station. It's just not possible. You can't avoid it. He will go.
I also feel like if he has reasonable people, or if he has any out of sense, this is the time where he gets to invite a lawyer, or his lawyer if he has, and then they will now go.
Exactly. That's
say,
yes.
Okay, what do you want me for? Because now with this whole chaos and everything that has gone viral, that is an indication or an establishment of the fact that the police want you to come to the station. Yes. You have some questions to answer. Yes, this has established that. So I want to believe that the next time we hear about the police and Portable in this particular station will be what or why they invited him to the station, and he will be there. No,
we already have the why. A few hours after, he's on one of the clips in this, he said that it was a Yahoo boy that had invited, that had gotten them to come and arrest him.
Yes.
But apparently, what had happened was one of his previous artists on his God knows what mushroom record label.
Yes, that he kicked out.
Yes, the hand. There was not publicized. So apparently he was saying that since then Portable have kept threatening him or something, and maybe seized some of his belongings, and so he decided that he should go and write a petition at the station. So it was because of that petition. That's why they were asking him to come. You know, because of that petition that was on their table, and then he had refused. So I think like what this just means is that they had showed up the first time without force. The next time they're going to go back to the Odoguba to go and get Portable, they're not going to go with. It's not going to be just this easy ride. They will actually go with force, and nobody wants that kind of wahala, you know, with the police. So I feel like the smart thing is what you said: get a lawyer, two of you. You go to the station and go and have your talk. Yes. Because if you let the police come back to that place, they will not come back with the kid gloves that they will not come back like friends that they did this time.
It will be like when NEPA office, if you stop NEPA officials from doing their work, by the time they come back with soldier and everything,
exactly.
This time around they'll carry your whole wire and your pole.
Exactly. That's exactly what's going to happen next. And I feel like you don't really want things like this to like kind of spiral out of control. So smart thing, if Portable and these people are listening to this, just tell your guy, get a lawyer. You should go to the station and go and talk the thing over, because eventually the petition, I even read the petition itself because the guy put it online. This is his former rebel signee put it online. It is a case of something that they can easily talk about. You get. So this one where Portable is nervous about going to the station and making a big whatever deal out of it is unfortunate, and it's funny now. It might not be funny later or this. You know, we know how the Nigerian police can be. Yes. You know, so. Let's just to avoid those things, just do what has to be done. But you have to admit that somehow this crazy guy, I have to say that, has kind of parlayed one hit song into almost 2 years now. Yes, into a career. Exactly. Into almost 2 years of noise making and stuff, you know. I mean, I think I probably know of 2 more songs from Portable, none of them are hits. Zazoo is the only hit I think he has on a widespread hit. But I've heard 2 other songs. Maybe they're like street level hits, you know. But I'm just like, okay, somehow this is why social media is a funny place, because without social media, I don't think we'll still be hearing from Portable. Portable, exactly. But somehow he has 1 hit song and like 300 controversial clips online. So I don't know, man. And you know, I mean, sorry to kind of add to this, there was that interview that Don Jazzy did where he was talking about how some of his artists should emulate Portable. I felt that was like a very misguided statement for him to make, because he was trying to say, oh, you know, this noise making, be outspoken, you know, be relevant, and that's kind of how you get it. I understand a bit of what he's saying, but I also think that not every artist can put themselves in that space without it affecting the kind of persons they are. So I would assume that the record label, should be able to say, okay, you know what, we have this type of artist. I would not expect Ira Star, for instance, or even Rema, people who otherwise pop, to be regularly causing wahala like Portable. People that are like singing R&B, like what's his name, like Magix, for instance. I would be very shocked if they now decide that, oh, because Don Jazzy said this, I would now start creating all kinds of antics online. So I understand that all of that they feel like is currency, but I just feel like somebody in Don Jazzy's position should, sorry to say, should know better than to use Portable as an example for artists who are totally different from what Portable, even as a musician, represents.
Okay, so you know, I also think that for safety, I also feel like I don't think Don Jazzy was actually saying that be as chaotic as Portable. If you look at what happened to Brimo earlier this year.
This year, okay.
Yes, with the whole political conversation and stuff. Yes, you know, that's him jumping on the conversation, on the situation, and it made him very, you know, go viral at that period in time, and had a lot of attention. I mean, if he had something else, or if he kept at it, talking more or less, blowing out his opinion and stuff, he probably would have continued. He would have continued in the New York, remaining in the news.
But look at Brian. But that thing affected him negatively. There are people who felt like his statements were ridiculous, and he had actually I don't agree with them, but the people who felt that he was advocating hate of Igbos.
Yes, which probably was not his intention.
I don't think it was his intention.
Look at
but the overwhelming nature of the responses he got online was that, and for a while,
look at Seun Kuti as well around that same period.
Yes, same
so
thing.
People still. I don't want to say I don't know if it's misconstrued.
Misconstrued, yes. Kind of
that's how they,
yeah.
So it's. But what I'm just saying in essence is that the Jazzy probably meant be in a conversation, talk about things that you express yourself, just find ways to make yourself.
I feel like it is
popular. Or
I feel like it is dangerous to use Portable as an example for anybody who is a serious musician. I understand that you feel like there are things that the online space gives you.
Yes.
But I honestly feel like it's a really, really, really big mistake if you dangle Portable as this person to emulate. Believe me, in any way, I don't care how. It's a really, really dangerous thing to do. So I felt like I don't know that was a great example, because I imagine that if I was a Don Jazzy act watching that thing, I think I will feel bad that, okay, why did this guy sign me if this is what he wants me to be? I can't even imagine Johnny Drill, the kind of music he does, you dangling Portable as in fact, there's nobody on the on the Mavis label who I think
comes close to
should even be having Portable as an example in any way, because they're artists. Maybe when Olab Media was starting up, for instance, and he was really into the street vibe and everything, maybe certain local way, maybe even G worldwide on a certain level. But people who are trying to potential as something.
Totally understand what you. I mean, I don't know. Portable is not Portable that we have today because of the music.
Exactly.
It's basically
because of the noise he's created online. Exactly.
You know what? Let's move on to the next.
Yeah, yes. Let's move on, please.
Did you see the Chude's interview with AY Megan?
I think yes. Again, just like the Portable one, I think a lot of people saw this as well.
Yes.
I mean, just to give the facts of the case.
Yes.
AY had an interview with Chude.
On his show Chude, right?
Yes. No, not is that. I don't know. I think the show is with Chude or something. I think it's just with Chude. I think so. Right. But anyway, on that particular interview, the clips of which we saw, he talked about the apparent beef between him and Basketmouth, and how for him at least how it started. Apparently they had a Basketmouth, of course, became popular,
bigger,
much more than AY at the time. AY was pretty much just somebody who was just kind of coming up. So as one of the things that Basketmouth used to do, because he had so many invitations to like host or like MC at weddings and at events, he would get some of his guys to go and stand in for him. He might show up, show his face that, oh, I came here, but he will not be the person who is holding the mic. He would leave, take the money that's paid and give to the person. Of course, they've already had an agreement to give to the person who is standing in for him. So one of those days, AY was the person who was standing in for him at this particular event, and they had agreed that AY was going to get 30,000 naira. Now we don't know what the Basketmouth's agreement with the host, with the client was, but between him and AY, was like, AY standing for me, you receive 30,000 naira. AY, who was just coming up, 30k was like a big money to him. I know that. Okay, so he goes there, according to him, does a good job. He even becomes a little bit friendly with the client, because he took the client's number. Subsequently, he found that the money he was owed, the 30k, wasn't coming. He asked Basketmouth, how far with this money that we agreed to? Basket said, they hadn't paid him yet, that he should chill. Now AY, for somebody, you can imagine somebody who, for him, 30k is a lot of money. He was really gingery because he needs the bar. Hungry young man who probably just started out life,
Yeah.
And so he reached out again to Basket. Basket said they hadn't paid. So he then went, of course he had the number now of the client. I went to ask the client, but you said the show was a decent show. Why am I not getting paid? And saying that one tells him that, we are already giving the money to Basketmouth. You should be having a conversation with Basketmouth. So he goes back and tells Basket that, and when Basket responds, he takes the response and shows to the client. When the client responds, he takes the response and shows to Basketmouth. As you can imagine, on the Basketmouth and the client level, things kind of maybe fell apart at that particular point in time. And subsequently, Basket felt that he was not loyal, and so he kind of cut him out. So AY has tried on several occasions, according to him, to kind of like figure out, how they could mend face, especially now that everybody was successful. AY has money and fame. Basketmouth has money and fame. They are both doing quite well. So there's nothing about anybody winning anybody. It's just fine. So let us get past that one. But Basketmouth has said, you know what, I will not forgive you.
No, doesn't
for
like
what
that.
you did.
Basketmouth said, I am a beast and I do not forgive. That's what he said.
Exactly.
Quotes what they said, he said. Not,
Well, James has told you people
no,
exactly
it's not me.
what
That's
was,
what it was quoted.
Okay, yes, okay.
That's what what's the name?
AY.
AY said about Basketmouth. That Basketmouth said to me. He said he went to the club to go and meet him and said
at some point, yeah.
Baba,
After other overtures, he
like
met
this,
him
like
once
this.
in the club and
say,
said,
you know, we are good. I have a child. You have a child. We are both married. We have
house in Lekki.
You have a house in Lekki. Like, we are supposed to be happy now. So let's squash the beef. And Basketmouth said, I am a beast and I do not forgive. And that was, and then AY said because he could dance, like just, you know, have you seen Bray Jota? Have you seen Bray Jota dancing? He just like this.
Danced away from the beast.
So now let's analyze. Let's analyze the situation of this story. First of all, as upcoming artist or as a young, hungry, and look, AY has done well for himself today. AY is one of the richest comedians,
entertainers
generally in Africa today.
Especially in Nigeria.
Definitely, do you understand? Yeah. But I'm just even throwing open. I mean, Africa, because how many can we really count in Africa? Do you understand?
This man believes in Nigerian supremacy. So
absolutely. So when you look at when somebody like AY now is telling you that then he was hungry, that 30,000 that he didn't have lights, like that's what 30,000 could do for him that time. Pay for lights, pay for fuel in his car,
in his
generator. Sorry, he didn't have a car. Buy food for the house, and maybe pay some people that he's owing already, and then he'll maintain his level again. I mean, that time now the events used to be every weekend or maybe, you know, just like that. Then you are not always lucky to be the one that Basketmouth will call to go and cover up, you know, sometimes. So if you are lucky, yes, then you are part of it. So, and we also understand that at the time Basketmouth was probably very hot, and who knows how much they were. Basketmouth was probably getting 100,000 naira at the time, and then from there we don't know. I'm just saying that then maybe that time we'll not say, okay, you hold 30k and 30k would have been today. 30k is a lot of money right now in this economy.
Not to me.
30k. No, I'm not saying. It's not about being.
I'm kidding. Of course, there's plenty money.
But where's the cash now? People are looking right now. 30k is a lot. If you have 30k cash right now, you are good. You know. So you can understand where AY was coming from at the time. And for him to admit today, like I said, that he was hungry, he was broke, he needed that money, is actually true. So
I don't think he was lying. I think he was saying what
he was saying the fact. So now I now also look at it from the perspective of generally Basketmouth and how he managed the situation. Basketmouth, yes, was friends with, so you know how it is now that he would have been snitching for or disloyal to AY for going first of all to get the person's number. Why were you so observant that you knew who to talk to even to the extent of getting the person's number? Ordinarily, if it's sent to go and say you are not supposed to collect the person's number. I'm just saying, that's how a lot
sometimes some of these things are
this
streets feels like, you know what, exactly.
Be loyal, don't go and collect the person's number behind me.
All
those things, that's number one. Number two, and it helps to the point that you now want to start talking to the person, to the fact to the you now told the person that I have not paid you. I mean, that was disloyal. Now we agree. We can establish the fact that Basketmouth was wrong in for what he had done. If you had been paid and now did not pay this guy in good time,
you wouldn't have made that person wrong.
That's number one. The other part again, number two is that Bobby and AY on the other part was wrong for sharing his conversation with the clients, because that's automatically you would have severed the trust between Basketmouth and that client. Do you understand? That's sort of, you ruin that relationship between both of them by going to share, because sometimes even with that hunger and everything, you say, okay, we expect you to bear the hunger, and you know, even if you have to die on it, don't ruin a relationship like that, you know. So because it's like if you catch a man who is cheating on the wife or something, so to speak, you're not going to tell the wife that. They say that means you are going to break that marriage. You might break that marriage, so to speak. You know how they say, you know, about
you might be wrong, go.
No, that's what we see. Yeah,
why did you go and do that?
The advice you don't go and talk. So I think that's how we can equate it or relate it to that kind of a situation. Now that's putting everything on the table. But I also believe that, I mean, moving on from that, time should have been able to heal or, you know, sort of mend the situation. I could have been very mad at you 10 years ago, and then I mean, sometimes some people, you know, say, I don't know whether the guy will talk to me, because then some people say, what happened that time? I've forgotten, and I don't know why. But let's not pretend or let's not lie that sometimes even with people, successful people we're here and there, that there can still be beef and competition embedded in the whole smiles that you see every day. These people are both successful, and then you can imagine that it can be arguable, or maybe not even arguable, that AY has or runs the biggest comedy show in Nigeria today, which is AY Live. I mean, it can be.
But I don't
arguable.
think okay, so your point, get to the point, James.
So my point
what
is
you're about to say
that
is not a good
time should have healed the situation. Basketmouth should not be carrying the beef of that harmony of that happened that time.
16 or 17 years
that
ago.
time, especially with the story we've heard right now, we all understand. Oh, this story, we understand. So and then Basketmouth has been on Ibuka's show before,
yes,
where they asked him this question, and then but the way he answered the question was very pedestrian. He was very shallow. We didn't think that so that's one time we can be friends, and next time we don't need to be friends, but we are still cool. We still say hello to each other and everything. Maybe not. Maybe they were not even saying hello to each other. Maybe they were not even as cool. I mean, AY went as far as saying that Basketmouth did not invite him to his wedding. They invited his wife, but did not invite him. I mean, how do you now expect? What exactly do you expect to happen? I feel like time should have healed everything. Like even a cheating partner, after how many years, would have moved on. Like whoever you cheated on that time was okay. Oh, you made me mad at that time, but whatever. After 10 years, after how many years, it's okay. We are fine. So I don't think that Basketmouth should be carrying that beef up until now. And I still maintain that to every story there are two sides to a story. I don't think that now that we've had this particular gist, I feel like the story is still not complete.
Yeah, so for me, I think I agree entirely with what you say. I feel like Basket and this kind of thing about this is why probably I think AY called it superiority complex, and I think it's kind of true. Although to be honest, when I first heard that phrase, I don't think it was the first time I think I said it before. I thought it was just a case of Basket feels like he's a better comedian, and so it doesn't associate with like people who are not really. Because I know that I've seen an interview where Eddie Murphy was talking about how they used to form friendship that back in the day as comedians. You thought this other guy was funny.
Yes.
People will now be like friends.
Yes.
And you felt like,
but those ones are not
really funny,
yes.
So that's what I thought. But it looks to me like actually it's a more psychological thing than a thing about talent or skill. So in this case, it's the case of because the sobriety for me comes where Basket cannot get over himself to really look at himself, to be introspective and say, you know what, this guy fucked up, but his own fuck up was because of my own fuck up. Because in the current way the story has gone, if AY is to be believed entirely, the first fuck up here was you getting somebody who is starving, somebody you had agreed with to do a deal, and then refusing to pay that person at the time you agreed to pay, and not even explaining really well that maybe the money has come to you, but I never just give me small chance. I never even give you. But to now see that the money has not come, and then actually that was a lie. I feel like Basket should have looked at it and say, you know what, I know what you did was wrong, but I feel like all of this time that has gone by, I respect that I was the person who first fucked up.
Yes.
I could have seriously said, I could have explained better to you why I couldn't pay the money at the moment, or I could have paid you the money at the moment, and then we would have been cool. So that's why I feel like it was fine enough for Basket to hold the grudge for a bit, but to hold it for years on account of something that you were the one who actually fucked up first, I just feel like that's really, really
Can we establish
behavior.
it now
That's
on this,
really bad
on this
behavior.
conversation that Basketmouth still owes AY 30,000 naira? So
I was wondering exactly. I was thinking about it like, okay, did they even get the money eventually?
No, I don't think so.
We don't have that information. But whatever the case, I just felt like,
he doesn't have that money. If he had paid that money by now, we wouldn't be having this conversation so much like that.
We don't know, please.
He doesn't pay that money.
We don't know.
So Basketmouth
anyway,
have to multiply by 16. The inflation rate by 16 years, and know how much he's owing this guy now.
I don't have what James is saying, but yes, I feel like that Baskets really should have held the grudge for a bit and then let it go, because now you first fuck up, And I feel like if you are the one who first made a mistake, you should be the bigger man to say, you know what, I respect that you did me wrong, but I did you wrong first, and so we are even. Let us let the thing go. But to hold it for 16 years, that's a really bad showcase of Basketmouth's character.
So I'm also going to just no disrespect to Basketmouth, but I just it's in public space. I'm going to talk about it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Basketmouth announced
his divorce.
Yes. And then, so do you think this connects to his person? This person, because right now AY has described a person.
Yes, it's a kind of character flaw this guy has
on Basketmouth, and then now his divorce. Do you think there would have a situation of That's
maybe
irreconcilable.
Yes. Maybe you feel like you hold a grudge and you cannot get past it.
Yes. Do you understand? Do you
Which,
think
as
so?
people say that forgiveness is one of the most important things in marriages.
Yeah.
So if you are with somebody who is not a forgiving partner, although to be honest, because I'm a Nigerian man, I feel like some things cannot be forgiven. By the way, I will not talk about those things, but some things cannot be forgiven. But yes, if that's the case, because this one really looks, this thing, Basketmouth really should have let it go. So if he has the same kind of character inside his marriage, then I kind of think you might have a point actually. Maybe there's something about that.
So just saying. Meanwhile, there's also news that Basketmouth is saying that he's going to do stand-up comedy.
For the next 5 years.
Next 5 years, and after 5 years,
he said comedy, but we are hoping that he just means stand-up essentially, because he still has a lot of comedy shows. Online. He has the shows on, especially on DSTV. I think he has 2 or whatever shows. He has something on YouTube.
One on Showmax, one on DSTV.
Yeah, you get and
then
YouTube, on YouTube exactly.
Yeah.
So it looks unlikely that he's going to let all of those things go.
Yeah, and then he's also going into movies and stuff. So I think
he's hosting shows. Is he going into movies?
Yeah, Basketmouth was in Brotherhood now.
Yes, he was in Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. I thought you were saying God, like maybe putting money.
No.
Maybe he is, but we don't know that. We don't know that part yet. Yeah. So I would not lie. I feel like basket is one of like our
biggest exports in terms of
greatest
comedians.
I think of his generation. If you include people who are now just before him, he's certainly in the top 3.
Yes,
certainly the top 3.
Yes,
in ever. Maybe not ever, but in this. Maybe the last 20-30 years, he's certainly in the top 3. So I respect him a lot. So the story just kind of robbed me of doing like, nah, I don't think Basket should be the person. But sometimes a person's character is a person's character.
And he's human.
Money doesn't change. Money doesn't really change it. So yeah.
And if you actually follow where Basketmouth came from a place of poverty.
All of them came
from
poverty.
And the mentality, well, yeah, actually.
Came from poverty.
And then the mentality sometimes might not leave you. That's mentality from that time, because imagine that if you have been paid to just sort the guy out, then you just feel like, oh, I'll give you, don't worry, and then the guy is actually hungry. The guy
but you don't even say I will give you. It's a case of saying that the person hasn't paid. That's not.
Saying that person hadn't paid, that's different.
Which was not true. That's just bad. Like I said.
So anyway, I think we're done with this episode.
Yep.
Shout out to you guys.
Yes, Wizkid and Tems won something, by the way.
iHeart Hip Hop,
Afrobeat Radio Awards, I think. Yes, Afrobeat.
Yeah, and then
they shared the Afrobeat Artist of the Year.
Yeah.
Then Tems won with Future for hip hop, for the hip hop category.
Yes.
So congratulations
to them. Shout out to them as well. So we say Afrobeat to the world.
Yes, as always.
So subscribe, guys. Share, comment. Let us know what you think about the show.
In fact, comment. I feel like I'm very interested in the comments.
Absolutely. Anyway, I'm James Silas.
And I'm Oris.
That's Oris, and we'll see you guys on the next one.